Welcome to all. This is lecture 6 on inverse trigonometric functions. Before we proceed, check out the solution of workout 6 that was I named as W6, and the issue is along with the proof we have to remember the formula also. That one is tan inverse minus x, that was is minus tan inverse x, and cosec inverse of minus x is equal to minus cosec inverse x. Other two are, one is sec inverse of minus x, that is pi minus sec inverse x, okay, and one more is, that is cosec inverse of cot inverse of minus x, that is pi minus cot inverse x. We have to remember these as formulas along with their proof, okay. Then other two type of problems are also there. One is tan inverse x plus cot inverse x is equal to pi by 2, okay, and this one is sec inverse x plus cosec inverse x is equal to pi by 2. Then how to remember? You just observe both tan inverse and cot inverse has the domain, same domain, okay, that is set up a real numbers. And in case of sec inverse and cosec inverse, they have also the same domain, that is R difference open interval minus 1 comma 1, and one more formula is also there, that is sin inverse plus cos inverse is equal to pi by 2, because the way to remember is that both sin inverse and cos inverse have same domain, that is closed interval minus 1 1, okay. So in this lecture we discuss some more problems on inverse trigonometric functions, okay. And then note that before you see the solutions, try to solve it of your own, then only you try to see the solutions, it is better for you, okay. The first question is, find the domain of the function sin inverse 2x minus 3. Remember, the domain for sin inverse x is closed interval minus 1 1, okay. If I say we have sin inverse x, and this x must belong to the interval minus 1 1. So we can say that x should be less than equal to 1 or greater than equal to minus 1, okay. Then here you have 2x minus 3. That means this term must is greater than equal to minus 1 and less than equal to 1. Now solving it for x. How to solve? Now adding these 3 both sides. What do we get? We get 2 is less than equal to 2x less than 2. Now dividing 2 in both terms. What do we get? We get that x belongs to 1 to closed intervals. So the domain for this function is 1 to closed intervals. Okay. Now come to the second problems. Given that, the question is, find the domain of f of x equal to sin inverse minus x square. As in the previous problem, this must belong to the interval minus 1 1 closed intervals. But remember, if you multiply minus to each term, this one will be positive, okay. Then if you multiply negative terms, then the less than symbol will be greater than symbol. What do you get? This will be greater than equal to x square, greater than equal to minus 1. That was already written here, minus 1 less than equal to x square less than equal to 1, okay. So now observe that x square is always a positive quantity, so no need to take this part. X square is always a positive quantity, just take this part. Which part? X square is less than equal to 1, okay. So now it is a quadratic inequality. Remember how to solve a quadratic inequality. Just bring 1 this side, now factorize it, x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 1, and draw the real line. Now equating is factor to be 0. If you take x plus 1 is equal to 0, what do we get? We get minus 1, okay, here is minus 1. If you take x minus 1 is equal to 0, we get x is equal to 1. Now put plus minus plus. So what do we get? In this part, this inequality is negative, okay, less than 0, okay. So that x belongs to the interval minus 1 1 closed interval, because here you have equal symbol, okay. Now come to the next problems. Find the domain of these functions sin inverse root under x minus 1, okay. As it is, this term must greater than equal to minus 1 less than equal to 1. Now squaring each term, what do you get? You never do such mistakes. Squaring this term means you get square minus 1, you will get 1 less than equal to x minus 1 less than equal to 1. This is absolutely wrong. If squaring these terms, what we get? This term will be totally positive. Okay. So that is written here that x minus 1 is greater than equal to 0 and less than equal to 1. Now solving it for x, what do we get? We get that x is belongs to 1 to closed intervals. Okay. This is the domain of these functions. Sin inverse root under x minus 1. Okay. Now come to some new problems. That is given x, y, z is belongs to closed interval minus 1, 1. Okay. It is given here such that their sum is minus 3 pi by 2. Then find the square sum, x square plus y square plus z square. Okay. You observe it that each term, whatever that may be, sin inverse or sin inverse y or sin inverse z, each term is greater than or equal to minus pi by 2. Why? Because as you know that sin inverse function is a function from minus 1, 1 closed interval to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 closed interval. So whatever the result is always greater than or equal to minus pi by 2 to less than or equal to pi by 2. So that's why the sin inverse x is always greater than or equal to minus pi by 2. Similarly for sin inverse y and sin inverse z. Now adding these three, what we get? We get these three sum is always greater than or equal to minus 3 pi by 2. Just observe that individually each one is greater than or equal to minus pi by 2 and the sum is greater than or equal to minus 3 pi by 2, and given we have their sum is minus 3 pi by 2. So how to conclude? We conclude that each has to equal to minus pi by 2. Okay. What do you conclude? We conclude that each sin inverse y and sin inverse z is equal to minus pi by 2. Unless if one of them is greater than or equal to minus pi by 2, other has to be less than minus pi by 2, which is not possible because each one is greater than or equal to minus pi by 2. So that means each has to be strictly equal to minus pi by 2. What do you get? We get x is equal to, you bring sin inverse that side, what do you get? Sin of minus pi by 2. This is sin of minus pi by 2. So and this is sin of minus pi by 2. So what do you get? X minus 1, y z minus 1, z is equal to minus 1. And taking the square sum, we will get 3 the answer. Okay. Now, before we proceed to the next problems, just recall certain concept of functions. Okay. If given that a function is like this, a function satisfies such condition that f of x plus y is equal to f of x multiplied by f of y. We have given a function satisfy these conditions. Then in such case, we have to take that function to be a exponential function. In such case, take that f as an exponential function like a to the power x. This function are exponential function type. Okay. So here one example of course, given function satisfy the condition f of 1 is equal to 2. Okay. And satisfy this condition f of a x plus y is equal to f of x multiplied by f of y. So what to take here? You take f of x is equal to 2 to the power x. You just verify that f of x is equal to 2 to the power x satisfy this condition as well as these conditions. F of 1 will become 2 to the power 1 which is equal to 2. And verify this condition f of x plus y is equal to 2 to the power x plus y. What do we get? We get 2 to the power x plus y which is equal to 2 to the power x multiplied by 2 to the power y. What is 2 to the power x? 2 to the power x is equal to f of x. And what is 2 to the power y? It is f of y. So this 2 to the power x satisfy this condition. Okay. So now based on this concept, let's do the next problem. Given that sin inverse x plus sin inverse y plus sin inverse z is exactly equal to 3 pi by 2 and f of 1 is equal to 2, satisfy this condition. F of x plus y is equal to f of x multiplied by f of y. In such case, what do we take? We take that f of x as exponential functions. Okay. Before that, just observe these things. We have these three terms, sum is 3 pi by 2. but individually each one is less than equal to 3 pi by 2. Okay, sin inverse x, sin inverse y, and sin inverse j, each one has maximum value pi by 2. If you take the sum, then their sum is maximum is equal to 3 pi by 2. But given that the sum is 3 pi by 2, just observe, each one is less than equal to pi by 2, the sum is 3 pi by 2. Okay, so what we get? We get each has to be equal to pi by 2. Suppose one of them is less than pi by 2, then other has to be greater than pi by 2, which is not possible. Okay, if suppose one of them is not equal to pi by 2, means it may be greater than or less than. Suppose one of them is greater than equal to pi by 2 or less than equal to pi by 2. Okay, like one of them is less than equal to pi by 2, then of course one has to be greater than pi by 2, then only the sum is 3 pi by 2. Okay, so which is not possible because it has maximum value pi by 2. So in such case each has to be equal to pi by 2. So what do you get? You get bring the sign inverse to this side, we get it is x is equal to sin of pi by 2. Similarly y is equal to pi by 2, z is equal to sin of pi by 2. So what do you get? X is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, and z is equal to 1. Now from this we get x1, y1, z1. Now as you take that function to be exponential functions, we get it is 2 to the power x. So now evaluate the value of x to the power f of 1, it is 1 to the power. Okay, x is 1 and y is also 1, z is also 1. So what we get? We get here the solution of course 1 to the power 2 to the 1, 1 to the power 2 to the power 2, and solving it we get it is 2. Okay, now come to the next problems. Find the domain of the function sec inverse 2x plus 1. Remember the domain of this function sec inverse, it is r difference open interval minus 1 1, which is or equal to it is minus infinity to minus 1, infinity 1 to infinity. Okay, so whatever you take in place of this term, that must be either less than equal to minus 1 or it is greater than equal to 1. Okay, that I am taking here. Either this term is 2x plus 1 is less than equal to minus 1 or it is greater than equal to 1. So solving it for x, what do we get? We get that x is less than equal to minus 1, or we can write it as x belongs to minus infinity minus 1 close interval, or it is greater than equal to 0, means it is belongs to the interval 0 to infinity. Okay, so what we get? We get x belongs to the interval minus infinity to minus 1, 0 to infinity close interval. Okay, so now you just try to solve these problems. Okay, then here you give the number of triplets satisfying this equation, means how many x y z, how many such x y z you can get that satisfy such conditions. Okay, that is called number of triplets. Okay, then we have already completed such problem like this. Okay, then you try to solve these problems. We will continue in my next lectures. Thank you.